Hello, no one. I just thought I have a short live stream with you guys, and if I know it's not scheduled, so it might take a while for people to show up. If they do, so I'll hang around for a few minutes. If you're here, great. If not, then we'll try another time. So, and we have Ayushman here. Good morning, Ayushman. Orlando is here. Hello there. And Kuro says, I made it. Well, Kuro, I wasn't supposed to have any live stream tonight. It just so happened that I thought before I go to the gym, might as well just have a short, because I didn't have one last Saturday. So 26 Male, California. Thank you for that. Orlando, I think it's what, 40, something like that. This Ayushman also, don't forget to include your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. David is here. Hello, David. Good to see you, dear. It's been a long time. I sometimes see the pictures that you post on Facebook, and it's so wonderful that you have such a good time and relationship with your daughter. And sometimes I see the posts. It's always happy, and that's lovely. So Orlando, 45, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thank you for that. Says, how are you, sir? Thank you very much, Orlando. I'm okay. I have noise in my head, in my ears. Tinnitus. I think it's called tinnitus. 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 Yeah. So it can get quite a bit sometimes, and I'm trying to find out how to deal with it, like how to, if it can be fixed. I guess it's not. Nobody has found any cure to it. So sometimes it's not as much, but sometimes it's quite much. I haven't figured out why. And so that's the only thing that it's visible about among the issues that one would have to deal with in our daily lives. So, any of you have any cure for it? I'll be more than happy to hear it. And he says, how is the weather? Weather is pretty cold here, like, cold for what it used to be like a month ago. It's like anywhere between 3 and 10. Like during the day is like 10 or so. At nights is usually 4. Let's see what it is right now. Right now it's 5 degrees Celsius. Air quality is good. UV report is good, but it's 5 degrees. So I've closed the windows, a little chilly, and obviously I have a jacket on. And let's see. So over here it's 35 degrees. 35 degrees. Where are you? New Mexico. 35 degrees. Wow. Wow. We're 30 degrees different. We're just putting clothes on. You probably are lightening it up. Ayushman says, I'm 22, male, India. Thank you for that. Says, my problem is thought of my ex. That's not a problem. That's a good thinking. Says, whom I was in serious relationship with for 3 years in love. And my best friend, male, might get in relationship and have sexual relations. Yeah, well, so what? You're done with her, like, you guys are done in your relationship. And why would you ever want to be back with her if she was in love with you, or you were in love with her and you were in a relationship for 3 years and now she's severed it? So why would you want to be with someone who has severed the relationship of 3 years? So everything has a duration. So understand this to be the duration of this experience. But when you try to make a temporary, which most things in life is temporary, life itself is temporary, when you want to turn that into permanent, that's when the suffering starts. So why don't you just change the narrative in your head and say, well, look, this was a good girl. I enjoyed the 3 years, but the duration of that relationship is ended, is done because the consciousness is dynamically changing in everyone. And this person at this moment, she's changed her direction of what she wants to achieve in this life. And it's not about being in a relationship with me. So be it. I enjoyed the 3 years and I don't expect it to be longer because it is not. So I accept the fact that things can change and she doesn't want to have a relationship with me. And to be honest with you, you're 22 years, you say to yourself, you say, to be honest with you, I'm 22 years old. I knew her since I was 19. I didn't know really what kind of girl I want because I hardly knew myself at age 19, but she happened to be the one at that point that I could have things in common or it would please me with the expectations that I had. And the same for her. But now I'm 22 years old. Obviously, I know a little bit more about myself. And when I'm 25, 26, 27, 28, I would know a lot more about myself. And definitely at that time, I wouldn't be choosing the same kind of girl that I chose when I was 19. Because at 19, my information about myself was very limited. And my expectations of girls and what kind of a woman I want was very limited based on what I could understand in life. And I didn't have much experience in life anyhow, didn't have much expectations. As long as it was a female and good looking, that was it. I didn't have any more expectations. But at age 28, you have had some experiences in life, some echelon of expectations, standards, then you know yourself better, and then you'd be able to actually decide what kind of a woman you want to have in your life. That woman at that age would definitely not be the same in standards and expectations and criteria as this woman that you chose age 19. Therefore, right now, it's a blessing. It would have broken up anyhow. It had to break up because you couldn't, at age that you're ready to get married or something, or you want to go serious, would be picking up the same kind of girl that you picked up, you chose when you were 19 years old. So nothing has happened really, and everything is good. You had an experience, now you know more about women, and you will now look for another girlfriend until eventually you're 28, 30 years old, which you will then look for something maybe more serious or more or longer temporary duration of it. So let me just so who else do we have here? Mhm. Ayushman says, this thought messed up my mind and makes me cry. Well, now you got to understand it better. And you got to tell yourself that this is how life is. There's no need to cry. Cry for what? There's so many girls out there. You're 22, Ayushman. Please understand. Don't devaluate life and the experiences that you're supposed to be encountering. Life is not about age 19 to 22 and a girl that you choose at that age and supposed to be together for the rest of your life. That's going to be very boring and inexperienced life. This was a blessing to know her, and it was a blessing for her to know you. And now it's time to go on and up the expectation level for a girlfriend. You're not the same person as you were age 19. Now you look for a more complete girl to meet your standards better and would be more reliable and more sure of herself and to know what she's looking for because she's more mature. And that's what you should be focusing on. Stop this nonsense. Nothing has happened. So what? Don't allow your desire to be more important than you. Your ego and your desire should not become more important than you in order to, so it will end up hurting you that you can't have what you desire. But what you desire is not you. You have understanding, wisdom, you have awareness of your values. And obviously, this kind of a girl at this age, with the kind of person that you are at the moment, the kind of person that she is at the moment, is not something that's supposed to last for long. It's something to let you know what relationship is at this stage of the game. But we often don't understand this. We think any girl that we meet at that age is the girl of our dreams and we're going to get married with her. It's not. And it's not supposed to be. If it is, it's going to be just a disaster of a relationship because you're too young. So enjoy what it was and don't make it any bigger than what it was. And David says, here's the man who helped me during a really difficult time in my life. What a solid, kind, wonderful man. Oh, thank you very much, David. Kind of you to say these kind things about me. And I appreciate that very much. David says, my mom has tinnitus. She has found some relief from hearing aids. Yeah, hearing aids maybe distracts because there's some kind of a noise in it or something, or amplifies what you hear. I can hear okay. It's just that, it's a sound. It's been there for like 20 years, but it wasn't ever pronounced as it has been during the past few weeks. And interesting enough, last week sometime, to my amazement, it was just not there anymore. Like for me, it was, wow, this is how my life was at one time. No static. It was brilliant. But I don't want to wear hearing aid for that. Uh, I guess at one time I might have to because of hearing, because this affects the hearing, I guess. There are some things that I would have to ask. What? So I'm trying like vitamin B12. It's not about the ear. You know that tinnitus. It's uh, it's not about the ear. It's about the friction between the neurons. Not relaying the electrical messages and or having a static while doing their job, so it creates that noise. Otherwise it's not really about coming from the malfunction of the ears. So I'm hoping to be able to discover something. Since until now, for now, I've been just using the focus mindfulness on the things that I got to do. And usually I don't notice it. I notice it when I actually notice it. It's like when you wake up in the middle of the night or early morning, and then you wake up prematurely, you want to sleep again. That's the time it kind of gives me a little trouble because I'm now focused on that. It's early morning, nothing else but the sound, so it kind of stops you. I try sometimes to put white noise and to kind of mask it that way. It works, but it's just something that I didn't expect to have to deal with. Yeah, longer temporary. That's right, David. Kuro says, why do I keep worrying when the next relationship will come? I have only had one that was very short. Yeah, because you want a relationship, and this is what the nature of human being is. We all want a relationship, but waiting for it is not going to make it come sooner. It's like train or ship is supposed to arrive at a certain date, a certain day, a certain time, but you're going to still go sit there a week earlier. By sitting there a week earlier, that's not going to make the ship or the train come earlier. Still going to take as much time. Same thing with this. The relationship will happen when it happens. Everybody wants to have a good relationship, but just because you want it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. It may or may not happen for a while, but you just do your own thing, live your life, and let the nature take its course. And when it happens, it happens. You don't need to kind of focus on it in that way. Okay, so Ayushman says it's been 6 months. Still, I sometimes miss her. Yeah, of course, you could miss her for years. There are some girlfriends that when I think about them, it's God knows ancient history, I could still miss them. Why? Because we had a good relationship. At least, there were many good things in it. Um, all right. And that gets me emotional and sad. No, instead of getting sad, focus on the fact that there's going to be another one. And definitely you're going to love her more than this one because you're at a different stage of your game. So don't be like, don't don't condense life into one experience or one relationship. That's not how life is. You gotta have like maybe 10 relationships before you find the right girl. You know, just be realistic. That's not normal if you think that way. It's not the way you should think. It's normal, but it's not the way you should think. So thoughts of her being more happy. Don't make a god out of her. She was just another girl that you happened to like, and she liked you at that stage of the game, and that's perfect. And be happy with that experience. Don't try to make it longer than what should have been. It should have been that long as it was. Why? Because it is. That's how it was supposed to be. And that's how it turned out. And you should be happy for that. And then move on, wish her well, wish yourself well, and go on and find another girl. That's not the only thing that this life has to offer. So please stop this nonsense Because the more you think this way, the more you expect it, the more you put yourself in pain, the more you will continue thinking this way. You condition and rewire your brain to constantly be sad and think about this and say, oh, I regret this. There's no reason to. Life goes on. And if you can accept the fact of life that every one of us face with, which our loved ones, our parents, or whatever, whomever we love, the relationship severs, or they even get old and die, and we still go on. If you can accept that, can you not accept just a broken relationship? She's alive doing her thing, and you're alive doing your thing. Just go on and live your life rather than condensing life into one relationship. But yet you accept, if God forbid your father, your mother, or your grandfather pass, you accept that, you go on with your life. But you sitting and sobbing and crying when a relationship is broken up, and you're still both alive and doing your things. So put things in perspective and live your life. Don't waste it with these sort of things. Just remember, don't put her on the pedestal. She's just another human being with all the needs that other human beings have. She's no God, and she has no secrets of life with her that she's taking it away. She can't do anything magical for you that no other woman can do. So stop putting her at a place that she doesn't belong. Nobody belongs. She's not a God. Let her go. Respect her wishes and wish her well, and respect your own wishes and yourself as well, and move on. That's right, David. David says, don't let desires define you. Don't let desires become more important than you. Hmm? Don't let your ego become more important than you. Don't let your desires define you. Orlando says, 45, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Maryland, my GF broke up with me saying I was controlling and jealous. Okay, that's her opinion. There are two things: whether you were controlling and jealous, or you were not. If you were, okay, well, try to modify that for the next girlfriend. If you were not, well, then that's her excuse and her shortcomings or her opinion, whatever it may be. She doesn't want to be with you anymore. So, okay, fine. You don't want to be with me. You don't deserve my attention. That's all right. I wish you well, and I go about my business as well. Go find another girlfriend. It's no big deal. It's not the end of life. And says, we used to fight about her morals and values, which are very different than mine. Regardless, I feel angry. Yeah. But just as she calls you controlling and jealous, it could be completely different, and you could be calling her, you're not conservative enough for me, and you're too loose here and there, and your behavior is not suitable to meet my standards. So it's not, if she labels you with something, that doesn't mean that's your fault or that's how you are, and that's a negative, because obviously the way maybe it seems to her, the way you are, it is because of a reaction to the way that she is, which is not maybe meeting your standards. So it doesn't mean that something bad about you. It doesn't mean that you're controlling. Maybe she just uses that word when she expects to have no discipline or no morals and merits of any kind, and she uses that word in order to express her wishes to have no rules, no um, loyalty, no manners or morals. And so it doesn't mean that it's bad for you. It means it's the word that she's using to get away from her own shortcomings. And if you are, well, then be less controlling because it is possible. Who knows? And Orlando says, I miss the good times because I still have a big physical and sexual attraction towards her. Yeah, well, that's the problem. Most women, all we focus on is the fact that they're pretty or they're sexy, and that's what we're wired up to have. And we kind of forget about Who is providing that sex? Some consciousness that is not compatible with my consciousness, and therefore it's not tolerable. And yet you don't think about all those because you only focus on what brings you pleasure. So you got to focus on the pleasure makes me feel good, but not everything that makes me feel good is good for me. Not everything that makes me feel good is of good quality. So these are the questions that you got to pose to yourself. And then you come to understanding that, okay, yeah, pleasure with her, sex and intimacy that would make me feel good. But then I have to put up with all kinds of uh, issues that are not compatible to my values just to get that pleasure. So I'm feeling good because of the pleasure, but I have to go through lots of hooplas and things that are uncomfortable. I have to endure lots of things that I don't want to endure just to get that pleasure. Is it worth it? Constantly, there's always a stress with that pleasure. Pleasure is only good when there's no stress with it. But if you're supposed to go through a stress to get that pleasure, what the hell with it? So you got to make that distinction and that decision at some point, and then go on about your life. You know, she's not the only one that you're going to be turned on, right? We men, we just love any beautiful woman. So, and there's so many of them around. So go find somebody else to be turned on by them. It's not a, there's no shortage of that. And and Orlando says she also used drug, which was a big problem. Jesus, and that's the end of that. I don't care how pretty she is. Walk away. And she also slept with a friend of mine. Oh, she's okay. Hang on, let me get the ugly stick because I gotta beat the crap out of you because you don't seem to have standards, let alone all the nonsense you're selling. I don't give a shit what you've written here. I'm not gonna answer it. So of mine, when I broke up with her 3 hours ago. 3 hours ago, you broke up with her 3 hours ago, and she went and slept with another guy. I miss her and I hate her at the same time. How do I deal with this? Well, you understand that you hate her character and the standards that does not suit and compatible with your standards. Therefore, that is not a right person to be with. But what you love about her is sexuality. And that's not that you love her, you love sexuality. So you find another one that can bring you and please you in the same way because there's so many beautiful women out there. When you separate the two and understand that what you like about her is her sexuality and beautifulness, and there are many other beautiful women out there. So there's no shortage of that. But what is really important is the kind of a person that you're going to be in a relationship with. And that kind of a person, with the things that you told me about the drugs and sleeping habit and this and that, morality, lack of it, that's not something that you want to put up with. Therefore, that disqualifies her. And that's the end of it. Now, if you can't control your desires, even though she's the kind of person that she is, with the kind of manners and morality that she has, then you deserve that ugly stick to be broken on your head, and there's nothing else we can do about it. So, all right, now I go to Steve. Stephen is here. Says hi, Maron. Hello, Stephen. Says Stephen, male, 42, Los Angeles. Thank you for that. Stephen says getting ready to leave work, so we'll listen to you when I get home. Oh, okay. I don't expect to be too long tonight because I want to go to the gym. I haven't gone to the gym for 5 days. Just thought I'd take a break. And Steven says, I'm still not moved on yet from that girl. Well, you have a choice, Stephen. You can sit there, stay there, cry and sob and think about her and make your life miserable. And then your life becomes miserable because you made it miserable. Or you take the high road and go and find a new girlfriend, live your life, and let the new girlfriend happen to be whenever it happens to be. And be happy. Because you don't have to, there's no reason for you to be sad. Like, you don't have to be sad just because a relationship didn't work out. It's not a sin not to be sad. Or have to be sad because she was so good, she was so pretty. If it was so good, why is she not with you? Or unless your definition of being so good is any girl that is not with you is so good. What does that mean? You can call a girl so good if she's loyal to you, if she's in a relationship with you, she wants to be with you, she takes care of the relationship and all that. But why is she so good if she's not with you? So she's not so good. So if she's not so good, then why don't you go and live your life and decide, I don't want to be sad. Why do I have to be sad? Why do I have to be thinking of her? Why do you have to think that the world just goes around because of her? Why? Why my limited consciousness have created the world that is unlimited, but I have now created that unlimited world to be a limited level of I can see of it with my consciousness. And in my consciousness, I've made her to be the princess of the world. What the fuck for? Why? Why does she have to be princess of the world? Because you don't have anybody else lined up. That's all. Once you find another girl that is good looking or you like her, then you say, what the fuck was I hanging around for this one? It didn't work out, didn't work out. So big deal. That's what it is. There are bigger things in life that are actually disasters, and people have to deal with them. And they don't let it to stop the wheels of their lives. And for something like this, there is a relationship broken up, you're going to allow it to just destroy your mood and your work and your encouragement and positivity and state of the mind in your life. Is that what you're going to allow some relationship to do? I mean, how are you going to protect your lifestyle? How are you going to protect your happiness? How are you going to protect your abilities to help other people? These are all going to be affected because you're not being responsible to protect what is really important, and instead allowing them all to go to hell just because you don't have certain kind of a pleasure that you were used to. Big fucking deal. Who is she? Why are you making such a big deal out of her? Look at it. You're in California. So many beautiful girls. Why are you limiting yourself to this girl? If she was with you and doing all kind of good things for you, then I would say, okay, then you got to be nice to her. But if she's not with you, she's gone with somebody else and she's done what she's done and not loyal to the relationship, why do you have to pay attention to her? For what reason, Stephen? It's a choice. Decide that, yes, I don't want to be with her because she doesn't want to be with me. There are things that you're not in control of it. You prefer to be with her, okay, but she doesn't for whatever reason. Okay, that means it's a deal breaker because I want someone who wants to be with me, not just me want to be with her. And if she doesn't want to be with me, that's a deal breaker. I'm not going to give my attention to her. I only give my attention to someone who she also wants to be with me, and she doesn't qualify. Therefore, I'm moving on. A choice. Maybe not an easy way to move on, but move on anyhow because nothing else makes sense. So, unless you understand these and take actions to make your life happy, it won't happen by itself. You have to cognitively make your brain, make yourself become mindful that why am I sitting here for this girl? This is not qualified to have my attention. Hmm? So you relabel it and you say, I feel I miss her. Okay, that's my feeling. But feeling I miss her doesn't mean she was the best for me. Why? Because she's not here. How could she be the best if she's not with me and she's somewhere else? So that means she's not qualified. So you reframe this thought that she's the best. Is she the best? You think about it with your wisdom. Is she the best? How could she be the best? She's not with me. So she's not the best. So she's not the best, but yet I want to be with her. It's not logical. It's not going to bring me happiness. So with this cognitive ability, you rewire your brain that when something like this happens, I understand it that this is just an intrusive thought. This is an intrusive suggestion that I should be with someone who doesn't want to be with me. Therefore, I understand the situation is not a suitable situation as my brain suggests to me. I change that and focus on something mindful, something that is positive. I make myself busy with something functional and positive, and then my brain understands automatically that when these sort of suggestions come to my brain about she's being the perfect one, my reasoning have already reframed this misrepresentation of the brain, and I automatically move to a next stage of my life, which is leaving this behind. And the brain learns not to bring this kind of a thoughts in my head and promoting something that is not qualified. All right. And says, things you said that bothers me is I feel like you don't even like me. It's a bullshit. The thing is, you're weak minded and you believe these things. No, these were excuses so she will not be considered that she's the one who's breaking up, but she's actually thinking that she doesn't like you. So she was just creating some kind of a situation so she would not be responsible for what she's about to do. So don't buy into that. And say, I show no emotion. I started to believe it, but looking back, I know there wasn't that cold. No, of course not. So stop believing that nonsense. Orlando says meant to say 3 years ago. Okay, not 3 hours ago. Okay, good. But either way, same answer. 3 hours ago or 3 years ago, you should stop thinking about it. 3 years is a long time. Please don't ruin your lives for nonsense. There's so many girls out there. If one doesn't work out, next. No disrespect to this one, but she doesn't want to be with you. You don't want to be with her. Just give me one moment. I open this window so it'll be a little bit cooler here. Okay. So, and I guess we caught up with all the questions. Well, for the fact that we didn't have a scheduled live stream, we have 12 people here, which is much more than sometimes that we have a pre-scheduled one on Saturday. Looks like this is a time that more people would join, something between 6:30 or 7 or 7:30. Maybe 7 o'clock at night would not be a bad idea from now on. So we can try. Don't forget to promote the channel, guys, and let people know. I often from you guys, from many of you, during the day, every day, hear that your channel is so underrated. There should be so many more viewers. And it's true. So let's promote it. The quality of our discussions is pretty good, I believe. I'm unanimous on that. So, and I don't think I'm biased, but anyhow, promote the channel, guys. Help us to grow more and help more people. And Steven says, why is it so hard for me to accept this and move on? You have OCD, intrusive thoughts introduced by your brain, which we all know that uh, it's basically a suggestion by the brain that you pay attention to as fact, but you don't have to because it is not fact. I think how I want to say it, I guess best is, you see, every one of us get deceptive brain messages. And the problem is that you get these deceptive brain messages and you believe them as fact rather than using your mind, using your mindfulness, and relabel these deceptive brain messages, reframing them, and rewiring the brain not to give these deceptive messages. Because just because a message comes or an image or an urge comes from the brain, that doesn't mean that is fact and that's how it's supposed to be, or that is the truth and that is exactly how you should feel or you feel. It's the brain's job that is doing. It's not your choice. So you got to have some kind of understanding that this is the brain saying, not me. That is the brain's suggestion or urges or images or understanding. It's not me. That's not my choice. That's not my understanding. That is not my what is good for me. That is not my taste. So you need to, by being mindful, remind yourself that this is not me, this is the brain. So I don't have to follow it. And then you teach the brain by not following it and following something positive, being mindful of something positive that you pay attention to, that automatically brain gets rewired that it shouldn't bring this up, because every time it does bring it, you don't pay attention to it, you don't choose it, you don't get into, you don't interact with it, and you go on and find something else that is towards your values. And the brain sees that and eventually automatically stops bringing these up. But every time that brain brings some kind of a deceptive messages like this, that she's the best, you have to be with her, you got to be sorry that she, all that, and you entertain it, then you're, through neuroplasticity, you're making the brain to be encouraged to keep bringing these sort of thoughts to you. But when you don't and you move on from it and you relabel it that this is how the brain makes me feel, but it's the brain, it's not me. And then you go on about doing something positive with your life, with your day, with your time, then the brain automatically gets rewired toward the values that you want, not the values that it's suggesting. Because brain is not your intellect. It just does things, says things. And you're not supposed to be following what the brain says. So you need to become aware of this behavior of the brain rather than following what the brain is doing. That's the way you handle this. So, all right, guys, it's been 42 minutes, and I think it's time for me to say, I love you all. Thank you very much for being here and giving the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. And I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.